Hi, everybody. So our tech team upstairs is telling me that we are live, and I'm going to try to connect on my phone. Hopefully all of you are as well, and you're coming back with us. And I know we've got a little rotator playing. There we go. It looks like we're live. So I've got y'all on my phone, so I'm watching us, watching you on here. That's just weird. But we are so grateful to all of you who decided to come back. This is our Going Deeper for the Sunday message. As I mentioned at the end of our service, we were having some technical glitches. We've switched out our live stream studio or our live stream system. We're continuing to make updates. We are committed to getting you guys a solid feed so that you have a wonderful experience, whether you are on Facebook or on YouTube. This is our Going Deeper. I'm here with Jean. I'm so grateful for your message today, Jean. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you,
So if you guys have a question for Jean, you can type those in the comments here on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. I need to get to where I can bilocate between Facebook and YouTube for you guys. But I'm going to start with a question, Jean. So do we have to let go of everything? I mean, aren't there some beliefs and ideas that we should keep? What are your thoughts about that?
Tammy, that's a very good question. Because obviously there's some things that we think, well, this is an absolute truth. How I feel about this, I have to hold on to this.
Right.
And the issue with that is that we're dealing with the mind a lot of times.
Right.
And the mind will hold on to what it wants to hold on to.
Yeah.
So it's okay if we let go of everything.
Right.
Because what is true will come back.
Oh, that's
what
well
is true
said.
will come back. We will be led to know what the truth is, or what where we need to stand in love.
Yeah. That seems like a really radical approach, but yet a necessary one for our planet right now.
It does, and you know, there have been other teachers that have suggested this. I think Byron Katie, goes through that questioning. Yeah. Is this even true? I mean, she questions everything.
Yeah.
Says, and of course, it's like you said, it's the time in our planet is very ripe for us all to do this.
Absolutely. So again, if you guys have a question for Jean, I see a lot of you are watching with me, which is wonderful, but I'm not seeing any comments, and I don't know if that's an issue on my phone. Hopefully not. If not, Jean and I are going to keep talking, but if you could just let me know that you're here with us, even if you don't have a question, and let us know, since we're kind of testing out some stuff, if you're getting a good solid feed or if you're seeing some glitchiness. So please let us know that you're watching here. And I've got another question for you, Jean. So I'm curious, if I let go of everything, like you're suggesting, won't I just be like a willow tree in the wind blowing between one situation and the next, one belief and the next? Like, how do I stay grounded in that space?
I love, Tammy, that you use the word grounded, because we do want to stay grounded. We keep, while we're in this space of letting go, we keep up our spiritual practices. We continue to do our breath work that keeps us grounded. We continue to do our meditation that keeps us grounded. We continue to do our prayer work and our spiritual study that keep us grounded. So we can still stay grounded in things of the Spirit, in things that are what life is really about, while we also give ourselves space to allow that which will become our new way of being to emerge. So it may be that we blow a little bit in the wind, but being grounded, like you said, in our spiritual practices will be so helpful for us to enable us to weather through that and end up at a more solid place.
Gotcha. Thank you. So I've got a couple people telling me I'm not seeing the comments. So I'm going to try to click back in. There you guys are. Sorry about that. So let's see here if I can find some of those questions. I'm on my phone, and the way a phone works is a little weird here. So if you want to retype your question, I would greatly appreciate it. And Jennifer, thank you for sending me a text with your question. I really appreciate that. So let me ask you a question from Jennifer here. I often hear the phrase, God is testing me. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, what a great question, Jennifer. Okay, so my thoughts on that is that God would never test us. See, how would God, God is everything that there is. How would God test itself? I am what I am not what I am. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of like a confused God if God tried to test itself? So instead, how I like to view those times that are certainly challenges in our lives, and we do have those, I view them more as things that on a higher level that even we, not an outside God, but we have brought into our lives in order to learn from them, in order to grow from them, in order to go beyond them. You know, how do I learn how to deeply love if I haven't had a challenge with love? And so that's really what we all came to the planet here to learn, is to be in 3D where things are heavy and things are perhaps more difficult to do, and we have these emotional bodies that allow us to really dig through the muck and come to that point where we get to the other side of it. That's something that we came here to do. It's nothing outside of us doing it to us. We came here to experience that so that we can see the freedom on the other side.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So just so y'all know, I'm on my phone because usually I use my laptop, and my laptop will allow me to scroll back and see old texts. I used my cell phone because I was able to go off of the Wi-Fi in order to give you guys a better signal. So I'm really grateful for all of you hanging with me. Again, retype your questions. I've got one. Here we go. Thank you so much. How do you navigate the recognition of the importance of our personal responsibility and using right source, not dropping into ego, yet still be involved at the leading edge?
Okay, would you please repeat the question? I want to be sure I get it.
I know, right? It's a great question.
Yes, it's
and
a good
I think
question.
I get it. So how do we navigate that recognition of the importance of our personal responsibility, while also, and this person puts and, but I think what they mean is and also using right source, so not dropping into the ego. Right? And then still being involved at the leading edge. So playing at that leading edge of consciousness and knowing the difference. I think what I'm hearing in the question is knowing the difference between ego in that recognition. So we've let go of all of our beliefs, right? And we're this little willow. So how do we know the difference?
So I'll start with by answering that question. If the intuitive sense that we develop as a result of our practices is that voice. It is that voice of spirit, or that voice of God, or the voice of our higher self, if you will. And so having to developing that really is one of the main things that we are here to do. It's if we want to live a life that is rich and filled with things of the Spirit, then we must develop that. And so that really has to be a priority in our life. Now, if we haven't developed that, it can be quite confusing to say, well, am I thinking this is ego, or am I really hearing from Spirit or God? So there are some things. There's some things that we can use. For instance, is it kind? Is it hurtful to no one? Does it bring me peace when I think about doing it this way? Those are some things that can help us if we're not used to feeling that intuitive sense yet. Of course, there's breath work and all those kind of things that are also helpful in getting to that point where we can sense it, sense the yes and sense the no. Now, as far as personal responsibility goes, we each have personal responsibility to grow ourselves.
Yes, we do.
I mean, we just do. We can't expect anyone else to do it for us. And at times, that personal responsibility is going to require that we step out and that we say something that perhaps someone doesn't want to hear. For us, it talked about us being on the leading edge. I mean, sometimes we have to go out onto those skinny branches and start speaking truth, even if people aren't ready to hear it. But before I go out and become some kind of real crusader for something, I must be sure that I've done my internal work. I must be sure that I'm coming from a place of love. Love.
Beautiful, thank you. So I just have to say how much I love our spiritual community. I've got friends who are helping me out with the questions that I missed by texting them to me so that we don't miss anything. And I just love y'all so much, so thank you. So here's a question. How do we know when it's time to fight for change and when it's time to accept what is and release our wish for change?
There's a saying, and I think it was Mother Teresa said, I wish to be for something, but not against something. And what she was saying is, I want to stand up for the truth, for what is good, rather than just fight against something. Now, there are things in our humanity that we see are in need of change. There are, and as we know, consciousness comes first, so we have to deal with our own consciousness first. But there are ways that we can step up and ask that things be changed in a way that's loving, that's perhaps insistent, but loving, that is for something rather than just being against something. There's a lot of against out there right now. And the only thing against, when I'm against something, that resistance creates more resistance on the other side.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Absolutely.
And so then that becomes, that just escalates. And so being totally for something, I think, is a way that we can look to the change that does need to happen.
Thank you. And I think this kind of leads into maybe this other question here. What language can we use to politely bow out of conversations regarding, in this case, politics, or to pivot the energy when someone insists on pushing their perspective upon us? So it's kind of like what language, like what would you use if you wanted to either bow out of the conversation or to just pivot to something that you're for, as opposed to getting down in that rabbit hole?
I believe that clarity and honesty are attributes that are helpful for us. And so being able to say, I really don't wish to participate in this conversation. That there are people who believe differently, and there are pluses and minuses on each side. But I just don't wish to go where we're going right now. That you can say it that way. You can. Of course, there are many ways to do that. Changing the topic to something else. Of course, you can do that as well, to something else that you can say, I really don't want to talk about this, but how about this? Can we talk about this other subject?
That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so this is a great question here. What are some sure signs we can recognize that tell us it's time to let something go instead of continuing to work on it like a relationship?
Oh, that's so good.
Isn't it a good one? I love it.
It's so good because I find that relationships are one of the most difficult things for us to get to that point when it's not working, when it's time to let go. When it's not working, it's time to let go.
Say that again.
When it's not working, it's time to let go.
Yeah.
And I have to assume, though, I have to assume when I say that I have done all my internal work.
Right.
Because if I'm the one causing the problems,
Yeah.
If my internal self is causing the problems, then there may be something I need to do to change for the relationship to work. Now, I will just say this. I have been, and I know other people have been in situations where I felt like, well, if I was just better, if I could just do more, if I could just do this, then everything would be okay. And that is not at all what I'm talking about. I mean, that kind of situation is one where there's potential abuse going on, where you feel so inadequate that you feel like you are just, not worth much, or that you're totally at fault about everything. That is definitely not what I'm talking about. But if you're in that situation, it's not working, and it's time to go. If that's not the situation, then do your internal work. And if you're not aligned in terms of your values, in terms of what you hold dear, and it's not working, you might consider letting it go.
And what I also heard when you said that was there's this letting go that's like an attachment thing that opens the door for change, whether that's your own internal work or the relationship comes to an end. So letting it go may not necessarily mean the relationship comes to an end. It means you've just let go of that like tight grip on it, right?
That could happen as well.
Yeah.
It definitely could. There's, I think Dr. Sue Morter once said, it's not okay to go until it's okay to stay. So it's that internal work. We do that internal work, and then, then we can go. But on the converse, it's not okay to stay unless it's okay to go.
Wow.
So it works both ways.
All right, I've got another question, and I think we're probably going to wrap it up here pretty quick. Unless you guys have a burning question, you better get them in. So this one says, acceptance brings me a lot of peace in giving up trying to control things outside of myself. But A Course in Miracles says that everything, quote unquote, out there is an illusion, and we must not give this illusion a lot of power. So my question is, can acceptance give power to the illusion? Can acceptance cement my belief in what appears to be and therefore keep it going on unchanged?
Yes, it is. It's a good question. So, there was a saying in recovery circles that says acceptance is the answer to all my problems, and I think acceptance is one tool that we have, but I think there are many tools. I don't think that's the answer to everything. Acceptance, I think, is best used when we accept what is. Like, this is the way it is, and I accept that. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to have things stay that way. It simply means I accept what is here. I accept the truth about it. I'm calling it a duck, but it's really a dog. I have to accept this is a dog, and that's key for us, because like we talked about the mind,
right.
Tammy, the mind want, I want a duck, but it's not. It's a dog. So so that acceptance gives a lot of peace. It does give a lot of peace, because finally we're not fighting against what is actually presenting itself. Now, it is all an illusion in a way. I mean, we're spiritual beings. We're down here in the physical, creating a lot of things, so is within, so without, so we're projecting a lot of things out here. It is all an illusion, but we're in it, and we came to be in it. We came to be human. We came to be, fully participating in it, in the illusion. So let's continue to participate. Let's, as much as we can, accept what is, and then also realize that we are more than what's presenting itself here. We are highly, when I say spiritual beings, that almost doesn't seem to catch what I mean.
It's like too small of a word.
It's too small
for
of a
who
word.
We are.
Yes, but we are just enormous energies of love.
Right.
And that's really what we want to have governing our actions.
Yeah, imagine if all of the energies of love that we are came here fully. If we all
Yes.
just decided to do the embodiment work that Dr. Sue teaches, that you're teaching through her work and your own work, like what kind of a world would we have?
Magnificent.
Right.
Yes.
There was something you said in your talk, and I was running around doing things behind the scenes, that if something about our consciousness isn't ready to know what's next yet. Do you remember that part in your message?
Yes, I do.
I don't know why I'm feeling called to ask you to sort of speak to that again quickly. Not quickly, you take as long as you want. We're here as long as y'all are here.
No, I'll speak rather briefly on it. So there's a question, how do I know if something is supposed to be the way it is? And that's because it is the way it is. That belief behind that says that things are as they should be, and that we also know that what is here is a reflection of our consciousness.
Yeah.
So my point was that if our consciousness was at the place where we want to be going to solve some of these really, really difficult and imperative problems we're having now, if our consciousness was at that level already, then the problems would have been solved.
Right. Which is, I think, why I wanted you to say it again, because that's acceptance, right? Is that we accept where we are in consciousness right in this moment. We stop calling ourselves a duck if we're a dog, so to speak, right? It's turning that thing inwards.
Yes. Yes, it is about acceptance. And it's also, that also speaks to our need to have everybody do things the way that we want them to do right now. Because if we had the way things needed to be done right now, that would be the answer, and it would have already solved these issues. But it hasn't. And so that tells me that we're still in a place of evolving. We're still working through that. We still are in a place where our consciousness needs to be elevated.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jean. I have thoroughly enjoyed your message. I've enjoyed our time together here, and I'm so grateful for all of you who've been participating and joining us and letting us know that our feed is better. Yay! We're grateful for all of you. So any final comments you'd like to make, Jean?
Let's just let go.
Amen to that.
Let go and allow for something new.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Thank you, Tammy.